rise. All rise. The pod is back in session. What a blessing. Welcome. We back all over again to the Supreme Court Basketball Podcast. There it is. Let's go. Me and the boys. Fellas, how y'all doing?
What up? It's your boy Reed back in here, man.
Bless.
We back up in there.
Back together.
Yes, sir.
On this lovely selection Sunday, we back here with another one.
Hey.
Yeah.
About that. A little rough for my guys, but we'll get into that. Hey, we appreciate you guys coming back for another episode of the Supreme Court Basketball Podcast. I am Chris with my two brothers from another mother.
Man, what's going on, this Big Bear? Well, we good. You know, man, this is a great Sunday.
Y'all know this is great. I ain't got to go off and keep telling y'all that every week. Y'all know my voice by now. You better.
Y'all you say.
You would hope. Hey, that means you've been back more than once.
Right?
Right.
You know the players.
Good time. You know the players, but you also know the game. This week we come to you again, how we normally do with the Lakers, finally getting back in the win column, beating the Suns. Man, the Suns.
Snapping that 4-game skid. Had to get that out the way.
4-game skid was rough.
I'm telling you.
Sit in fifth place, right? But Luka goes off as usual. He's starting to come back around. I'm liking that. I'm liking seeing where this team could be. And it's actually kind of nice. I'm finding the silver lining in Bron being out right now.
Yeah.
Because Luka is having to lead this specific team. And really, I think one of the bigger shocks is that I'm really feeling Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is actually he's turning out to be that big man that Luka needed. You feel it when he's not on the floor. I don't know if you guys saw today, but the way his pick and roll, I'm like, okay, this might be something. You get Rui back, you get everybody healthy. I think this could be something worth looking at. What's your thoughts, Bear?
You know what? I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I hated that 4-game skid, but you know what? Realistically, thinking about who we were playing and the caliber of level of teams that we were playing, it was a tall feat, being that we weren't going to have at least one game. Luka and LeBron and Hayes missing, and then we end up
Rui.
And so but at the end of the day, though, I'm going to say this, and it was for me at least, and I think I'm pretty sure the coaches, it was heartwarming to see that. Damn, look at us. I mean, we lost, but we were fighting up in there, and I think that because we're going to need these guys in the playoffs, right? We're going to need the Austin Reeves. We're going to need the Finney Smiths and everybody to kind of contribute more, because and really looking forward to like the top tier team, obviously OKC. The games that we lost, the takeaway from those games wasn't like, oh man, like we look bad. It was just expected, but it was still with the mindset of thinking, man, if we were at full strength, I think we'd whoop them. Especially when you look at most recent, noticeably the Denver game. I thought
was surprising to me.
That was
I thought they were going to crumble, but to see, and what you're finding is that sometimes you look at star-studded teams, but the other times what you really need to look at is, do the pieces fit? And I think for the first time in a long time, since that championship, we actually have pieces that fit, even though they may not be the names that you're accustomed to. They may not be the ones you thought you wanted or needed, but they're actually starting to work out. What you think, Ree?
I thought it was obviously you got to snap that skid. Lakers have been on a nice tear during February. In which we saw LeBron, to my knowledge, be like the oldest winner of the Player of the Month, which is, you string enough of those along, and during the season, that puts you in MVP contention, right? But this was one of those growing pains they had to go through with LeBron out of the lineup. And this is like you said, I needed Luka to show me he could man the fort in LeBron's absence. And he's done a decent enough job. I'm still waiting for, like Robert talked about it last week, I'm waiting on that Luka game, that monster game. I thought he would have had it against maybe a Milwaukee. Definitely would have came alive against Brooklyn, but it worked out the way it did, and they got the win today against, I won't say a lowly Phoenix Suns team, but certainly not one of the best in the West. You know what I mean? Like that's just
Yeah.
in terms of record this
They're
year.
what, 11th
And again,
seed or something right
yeah,
now?
and we'll definitely touch on that, how that team has looked this year,
Yeah.
considering all the money has gone into them and the star power that they have to now be outside of play-in contention. That's crazy enough in and of itself. But
with that squad,
with that squad, with that payroll, everything going on in Phoenix, you thought they would have had a lot more success. But it goes to show you. You mentioned this, Robert, and I thought we wouldn't see it until the end of the season, possibly. I thought the Lakers would stay in firm command of second or third, but I forget that the West is so tight. 3-4 games can slide you down to fifth where they currently sit.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing for you to go from 2 to 5. That to me was the big surprise. Like I said, well, the Lakers are in fifth. Damn, how quickly we were celebrating them being just last week we were celebrating them being in second place at that point. And we know Denver had taken over after they hit that 2-game skid against Boston and then Brooklyn. But Denver had lost a game or two in that time. Yeah, it don't take much, but this is definitely a much needed win. It definitely has to go well for Luka's confidence and LeBron's confidence and him, right? So again, it's a growing pain, but hey, it's one of those needed transitions. It's got to happen.
Yeah, I think the crazy part is that I want to say they are only 2 games, maybe 3 behind in the win column from second place. So even with a 4-game skid, you look at the standings, they're still literally a couple games behind, which speaks to your point, Rhea, is you really just don't have a lot of room. So I think if the Lakers can get healthy and still hang on to 5th or 6th here in the next week or two, get everybody back, get ramped back up right before the playoffs, I think that's best case scenario, because to be that close and to not really be that far behind in the record, because I think that's the hardest part when you start to pile wins and, somebody has 4 more wins and 4 less losses, now you got a problem. But to be basically in the mix where, hey, a couple shots fall here and maybe you guys are in third right now, but it leaves you hope that they can still play. Bear, to your point, I think they still compete even without having that full roster and that full lineup, which is something that in the past we couldn't do. When it was just AD and it was Bron, if one of them was out, it was a wrap.
It was
you didn't feel like, there was much of a chance. Now you see people, and I think even for the role players, they're starting to see their value. Your thoughts, Bear?
I think that when it comes down to it, it's encouraging from everybody. And I think it's actually scaring the league when you think about it, because they said, this Lakers squad is competing against the top teams in the West, and they're, going to the end. And this was, like I said, 1 game without, 3 of our top starters. With 3 of our starters. And one thing I will say is our rookie and Reeves, between those 2 guys, I'm really loving what I'm seeing, because Reeves, I mean, he stepped up so much. And like I said, he's going to be a key factor coming into the playoffs, because and when you see that and you see LeBron James not playing, I think that the Lakers are putting, the rest of the league on notice, like when we're at full strength, because I think LeBron James is okay, actually. I think at this point, he's just going to go ahead, give it, extra rest. Do we, and wait till the playoffs, maybe the last week of the season, come back to kind of get back into the flow and the rhythm of things so we can go in. Now, I'd rather take that second spot. I don't want to drop down and stay down 5th, 6th, because we're going to end up playing, I don't want to play OKC first round or anything like that. I don't want that to happen. But
even
great.
Denver, I'd want to avoid too,
I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't. But on the same side, I'm thinking, man. I'm telling you, I think at full strength, I think we can whoop Denver. I'm not impressed. Maybe it's just me. I'm not impressed.
They're not the Nuggets of old. The problem is there is something about the psyche of a team who dominates, and Luka even mentioned it himself, that everybody gets up for the Lakers. He pointed out the fact that that's real. Like being in the league, and he's like, I played in some games, I've been some play, but everybody gets up for us. And I think that becomes harder because even to that point, we got the last time we beat Denver, it was by committee. It was, help side. It was a lot of those things. The question is, can you sustain that for 7 games? And I don't know yet if we're there yet, just because of the lack of time the guys have had. Yeah.
Well,
what do you think, Bree? Oh, go ahead, man.
Now, go ahead,
Do
Bear. What you
you
saying?
feel? Do you think that there's I mean, because we do look different, but do
Yeah.
you think that we've changed and maybe turned that corner when it comes to being able to play consistent ball, team ball that's necessary for the playoffs? Do you feel more
Yeah.
confident or?
I definitely feel more confident because my biggest issue with the Lakers in the past has been the fact that they didn't have an identity. Right? That was always my biggest critique of Darvin Ham's team, where it was just like, I don't know. And I knew that I was correct in that because you had people like AD coming out like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing either. So when you got the players coming out just like,
Right,
hey,
right.
your guess is good as mine. Let's
Yeah.
all shake the magic 8 ball and see
Yeah.
what shakes down this week. It's like, okay, that's the problem. I do think collectively there's more energy around defense. I think their help side is better, and I think getting Dorian Finney-Smith out there with Rui when he's available, I think now you have guys who can actually switch, and that was one of their biggest issues, the perimeter. Even though Jackson Hayes is not AD, he's still long, he's lanky, he's active. Even Christian Coloco, when he gets in, it's like, okay, you got some pieces there that they're maybe not as polished or as good, but at least I know they have an identity and they have a game plan. So yeah, to answer your question, I definitely think they've turned the corner.
I was gonna jump in a while ago and say, I'll do you one better. And this is a bit of a surprise coming from me, maybe. I think the Lakers healthy, once they figure it out, is well, it shouldn't come as a surprise when you got LeBron and the Don.
Yeah,
I think they could at least get out of the West. Like, obviously, styles make fights. So the matchup matters. First round,
for sure.
you definitely want a bit of an easier test, right? And it progressively gets more competitive and harder, obviously. But I think the Lakers, as constructed, now that we've seen Luka pull out a win solo bolo without LeBron in the lineup, once LeBron gets back, that only fortifies him even more. Like, you don't get worse because LeBron's back in the lineup. Austin Reeves, up until tonight's game, has been averaging about 21 points. I think he's averaging a career high like 19 a game. Dalton Connect is giving you double digits. And they've been two of the most consistent third and fourth options on any team that I've seen in a while. Like, there has been few games in this stretch, wins or lose, whether it was that 8-game streak or it's been the 4-game loss streak, Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect have come to play. And to your point, you got guys like Jackson Hayes, who are now, again, he's long, he can run the floor, he can block some shots.
Pick and roll.
Excellent in pick and roll, definitely, which makes him a great lob threat. Which is really, he just needed somebody like he needed LeBron and Luka, willing passers who can make him more of a lob threat than he already is with his length and athleticism. For sure. So you definitely get the most out of him, and you're seeing that now. But again, you're getting. I always touch on this when you get key contributions from guys deep in your lineup. That definitely bodes in your favor. When you start to get guys like Coloco, you get guys like Jordan Goodwin, you get guys who make the all NBAs. Who do they play for squad, contributing this late in the season. Those are good signs. And again, you got Luka holding it down in LeBron's absence. Pulling out a. It depends on who you talk to, whether this is a real quality win, but a win nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right. You get back in that W column. That's never a bad thing.
That's what you need.
Right. It's what you need. He's damn near going for a triple-double. He by himself was more impressive than KD and Book combined this game, just about, right?
Reeves versus Book and KD, and
right.
Yeah, they were 21 points better than them.
Right.
A couple assists better than them, a rebound better than the two of them, 3 steals better than them.
Yeah.
Even that speaks to, and I know we're talking about the Lakers, but the other side of that is KD, I think we all can agree, is a generational player when it comes to the game. But is he worth it at this point? Is it worth taking a chance on him specifically? Because when he went to Brooklyn, I thought, okay, the Warriors we knew was a cheat code because he was dropped into something proven. Brooklyn, I thought, was him getting what he was actually looking for, that chance to prove that, I really am that guy. That went over like a turd in a punch bowl. But when that happened, it was like, okay. So now here we are in Phoenix. You were up and rising. Devin Booker. Bradley Beal turned out to not be what everybody expected, but
Did he
even
though?
just the two
You know
of
what I
them.
mean? Like, did he, or is
Well,
he
very true.
at about where we
That's
thought
valid.
he
That's
was in
valid.
comparison to D Book
That's
and
valid.
Kevin Durant?
Right. It was
Right. I mean,
romanticizing him with two other superstars that led us to believe this could be more. But you're right.
I think this skepticism is warranted. Listen, what we now know and what we can really affirmatively say is that KD cannot be the centerpiece. And this is why I'll say that, because you're going
Mhm.
to have someone that is a true leader. I get now when you look at the exploded view of his career thus far, the problem with OKC was not having the guy there that really could have kept that together, because they were looking at KD to be that guy. But remember, we got to remember why he went to Golden State,
Yeah.
because they crumbled. They had that series in the bag and lost it. But he was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be the leader, and I think that's part of the issue that we have with KD is his leadership qualities. And I
Yeah.
think from a superstar standpoint, I don't know the last time we've seen a guy of his skill set and stature in the league being a superstar, but lacking when it comes to leadership qualities that much. It's so
Yeah.
bad. And as a team, I don't think you bring him in unless you have someone that's a true leader. You can't, because if not, you're going to have a problem. Listen, you're going to win some games, but when you have face adversity, it's going to fall off. He's not going to be the guy that's going to push them through. He's not going to be the guy that's going to rally the troops, even like they have like a 3-4 game skid and try to get things on track. I think that, I don't know, maybe it was just me. He was in the best situation, but if anyone, I know we talk about, people talk about LeBron James dealing with certain things and can't deal
Yeah.
with the media and things. I think that KD's so sensitive. He was that's the reason why he left. So he could, quote unquote, kind of shut the people up, but he didn't get a chance to. You went to, you know, I mean, man, you went to Brooklyn, had a super squad, and y'all felt, yeah, I mean, we can talk about the foot, the big toe being on the line and everything, but we thought they were gonna dominate the
Yeah.
postseason. That
Even
team,
with that.
right, right,
Yeah.
on paper. So I don't know. I think it's warranted, and I think depending on what happens in the playoff, how about this? I'll say it. If they don't make the playoff, he's not worth it anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, think about it. You
Bold
don't make
Yeah.
statement.
the in a time where there's
Yeah.
the play in. You have more than one way to get into the playoffs with that team, with D Book, and you can't get. Nah, I'm cool, bruh.
Mike Budenholzer at the helm. Yeah,
Right.
you got.
I think we got to
Yeah,
start looking at him for even when it's all said and done from his legacy. There's a big tarnish on that thing. I'm sorry. You take
Yeah.
away, though, you know what I mean? You got to take away the Golden State. What has he done before Golden State and after? What has he done?
I want to be fair to KD because we tend to forget that Brooklyn team was up 2-0 in that playoff series, and they looked to be pretty unbeatable before Kyrie Irving went out with that injury.
Mhm.
KD got some bad breaks in New Jersey, Brooklyn.
For sure.
There's the toe on the line. It was just a series of bad breaks that I don't want to pin all of it on him, though. Unfortunately, whenever you're the man, you get your unfair share of credit,
Right.
and it breaks both ways. You'll get an unfair share of blame too when it doesn't go the way it's supposed to, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and as much as I get that, and I've said this about KD time and time again, and I don't want to use the wrong term when describing what I think his personality type is. I thought Kyrie was one of these guys too. When I use terms like malcontent, and maybe he's not a malcontent as much as he's a guy who absolutely needs everything to work out optimally for him to have any level of real success. Where everything has to go just right for KD. You know what I mean? He needs he needs everything to go right to have the most optimal result, which, unlike any other superstar who doesn't need everything to break their way, KD seems to need everything. And he either grows bored, he loses. You can tell there are times where he almost loses his passion. He just loses his drive. KD just depending on the situation that he's in, whether he's happy or not. And then again, I don't know, this whole happiness thing in professional sports is kind of a weird thing to me. You know what I mean? It's You're going to be in some winning situations. You're going to be in some losing situations, but you make the best of it. Dame Lillard spent a lot of time toiling in Portland trying to get that team somewhere, but you never thought for 1 second it was for lack of effort. Never once did you knock Dame and say he was not trying. He was not competing. There are times when I look at KD, he looks withdrawn, disinterested, disengaged. It feels like his heart isn't in it, so he cannot perform at his peak. That's my problem with KD. And it's been too often where his skill set was maximized on a team like Golden State because he is a great shooter. He's surrounded by other shooters and great defensive players and a coach and a culture. But if you take him out of that and you put him on a team where he has to be the guy, unquestionably, I don't know sometime. And this is kind of proven that. Like point. His leadership qualities have been called into question, and for good reason. And I hate to do that to KD. I think we can be unfair to KD at times, but this time I think it's kind of warranted. D-Book, and D-Book has to accept some responsibility too for this team. I thought he was going to turn a corner and be this Kobe protege we all saw him as at one point.
Yeah.
And then we haven't heard much. We haven't seen much of that D-Book in a while. Bradley Beal, I can hardly really. I mean, how much of the blame pie do I cut for him? You know what I mean? He's getting a small slice. You're on the team. You're one of the better players, but
you got to be in the bakery in order to get a slice.
Exactly.
But we're being realistic.
I didn't count on you to do a whole lot, so I can't really put a lot on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real.
That man knocking on the door on the outside.
Yeah,
he's
with no trade clause and everything. So yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't have too much confidence. Like I said, they are the number 11 seed.
11th seed.
We are the 5 seed. And so looking at Western Conference standings, the Rockets are our 2 seed at 43-25. The Nuggets are the 3 seed at 43-25.
Wow.
The Grizzlies are the 4 seed at 43-25. And the Lakers are the 5th seed at 51-25. All you need is just, and then the Thunder are at 55-12. There's no catching them. That's a wrap. They've locked up.
It's academic at this point. They pretty much clinched. They're going to win the West. Yeah, handily
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, anywhere between that, the Warriors are 2 games behind us in the win column, 3 games behind us in the loss. So you got a little cushion there. But I mean, the sooner they can get healthier in terms of the Lakers, the better, because Warriors have gone from like that 10, 11 to 6 seed. So
7-game win streak.
I was about to say.
Hey, when I say do not look now, don't turn around if you're the Lakers. Like, do not look back.
Well, how about Minnesota coming along?
I was about to say, another 7-game win streak.
Yeah,
so these teams are starting to. It's going to get interesting in the West for sure.
I think Minnesota personally is like a sleeper team. They're playing some great ball.
Yeah.
Great ball.
But I'm interested to know, like, what is your take on this Phoenix Sun team, Chris, and KD and his? I don't want to have a legacy talk right now. I think that's a bit premature.
Yeah,
because there's still some meat on the bone. He still has a chance to redeem himself and prove that he can be a championship caliber leader in the NBA. Right. But this season,
we're going to look at him and say that KD was a bum. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh no.
Where his conversation and legacy will get is when it comes to leadership and all those things. I think from the Suns' perspective, though, if you look at what the Lakers are dealing with versus what the Suns, we are really starting to see. Yes, a big 3 is something we fell in love with. It don't always work. And I think like this Lakers team, for example, is one of the purer teams because there are guys who have really specific and defined roles that they are just excelling at together, right? Luka is a scoring machine. He is not going to give you much on defense, not for a lack of trying, but he's going to give you the best he can, and he's going to rely on his wings and his bigs. And that's what it is. But what he does so well is he forces teams to figure out what they need to do.
Yeah.
He plays his role personified. And I think that's the biggest difference between these two teams. You look at Devin Booker and KD. KD, just long, lanky alone, is going to give you something on defense. He's going to be a scorer. But when you look at the pieces around them, and some of that to me isn't so much about the personnel, it's about the people who put the personnel together. And we see this a lot when you get a new owner. Everybody wants to put their stamp on something so quickly that, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to go get this guy, and we are going to. And you just realize that one thing about basketball that's been proven, even if you look at when we had a lot of success, we had the right people in the right places. You had the Robert Ory's, you had the Rick Foxes, you had the Derek Fishers, you had these guys who were just glue guys in their role, who understood this is the star. Yes, he's David Ruffin. We the Temptations, but we all got to hit these same moves, and we're all going on tour. And I think that's the biggest problem the Suns have right now. You're going to get high volume from Book. You're going to get high volume from KD, two top tier athletes. After that, the fall off is real. I mean, in some cases, it feels like you can get us out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, well, what's the difference?
Let me spot up for one, right?
It's kind of leftovers after KD and Bookie.
Yeah. And it just is not enough to compete in a West. I mean, just listen to what I just gave you. You've got three teams with the exact same record who are taking up a spot. It's like, well, you sneezed first, so you fell a spot. You know, that's crazy. So I think that's part of the problem is just I think they have a bigger issue than just the personnel on the floor. They need management. They're going to probably fire Budenholzer at the end of the year, so it'll be another coach. So you will have gone through, 3 in the last couple seasons because they're just trying to figure themselves out. So when I talk about identity, Phoenix is an example of what not having an identity will do to your squad. So
yeah, that's the takeaway on that one.
Right.
Hate to say it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, completely. But you talk about identities. It's that time of year, fellas. It is March Madness. And some identities are going to be carved. Man. Hey, Duke is looking good out there. So much so they got a number 1 seed with Auburn, Houston, and Florida. My Tar Heels got in, and they squeaked in. To be honest, I didn't expect them to make it. I wouldn't have been mad if they didn't make it. They just haven't been what they've been in terms of what Tar Heel basketball is. I think Hubie is going to be on that hot seat coming up pretty soon.
Alumni or not, it don't matter.
I think, I to be honest, I give him another year. I think I give him next year because him being so close to Roy Williams and such a part of the fabric of the Tar Heels that I think he may get 1 year. But after that, put it to you this way, I wouldn't be surprised if they're lining up what their next potential targets will be now. Like if he can't get it done next year, he's got a top 10 class coming in. I think Tar Heels are ranked like 8. But especially the rivalry game, I thought they gave Duke a run for their money this last game that they played.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They had to get up for the tournament. I was expecting that. That wasn't much of a surprise to me. Yeah, they had to make a good showing in the tournament.
Flag out didn't hurt, but for them to go down about 20, 21 points and come back and poor decisions at the end there, stepping in the lane on a free throw that could have tied the game. You're going to feel those decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
Fortunately for that young man, I will say I was happy that he will get another chance to play another game. To walk off and that be the last thing you remember against Duke is that's a lifetime of torture. So, but I know, Ree, your Blue Devils are number
you already
1
know.
seed.
Man, we continue domination of UNC this year, which is already.
I was gonna
if we don't do nothing else.
I had my year, and my year was Coach K's last year, where we absolutely mopped them every chance we. Man.
Yeah, y'all sent Coach K home.
The coup de grace.
Yeah. You hated to see it happen like that, but I mean, this has been our year.
I'm sure he still has nightmares about that one.
Yeah, I'm loving it though. I mean, we've been smacking on UNC. Sure. I mean, that last game was tough. I mean, and UNC did prove it that they had.
Something.
For real. They got a lot of chutzpah, but to win that tournament with Cooper Flag out, you know what I mean? Like that was. I mean, we got a team. We do. There's Con Knipple. You know what I mean? We still have some guys on that team, but we proved our toughness, winning outright, winning the tournament.
Totally agree.
I mean, I think we look good, but again, you know me. As much as I love my Duke Blue Devils, I'm never confident in us when we have a very underclassmen heavy team. If our best players are underclassmen, freshmen, it's hard for me to be that confident because even in college basketball, your more veteran savvy teams are going to have success. That's just the way it works. There have been few exceptions. Maybe the last team we saw that was led by a freshman phenom, that won it all was Syracuse.
With Melo?
I want to say Melo might have been the last one in recent history.
I think so.
To be led by a freshman and to win it all. So you don't see that too often.
You're right.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, we've had Zion, we've had some guys, we've had the Kyries of the world who, you know, he didn't have a very long Duke career.
Yeah.
He played about as many games for Duke as I did, you know what I'm saying? So, but we've had some Paolo Banchero, but we haven't. I just don't. I love us. I want us to do well. Fingers crossed. We need it. It's been we've had a nice drought, or at least for Duke Blue Devil fans. It's like the Lakers. Like more than a few years is a drought. You know what I mean?
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? It's damn near unbearable. But you want to see somebody's head on a chopping block after that point. But I'm sure John Shire has more of a leash than maybe Hubert Davis does because of the success he's had this year.
Yeah, by far.
But yeah, man,
and everything. He is beating him without a doubt. And he was the heir apparent selected. And it's one thing that Duke did. They didn't go outside and look.
No.
Coach K was like, "This is who was taking over my program, and that's what it's going to be." So he has
right.
He has no problem in terms of job security right now.
Yeah, when you're handpicked by Coach K, yeah, you're gonna have a longer leash than most will. But I mean, you got some teams that scare me. The Auburns, Houston, Florida's a nice, well-rounded team. You got some teams that definitely strike some fear in my heart. And we know how the tournament is, man. It's anybody's to win because if you get hot at the right time, you can find yourself in the Final Four, championship game. But it ain't that hard.
Looking at it, I still look at it, and I still think that Michigan State is a strong candidacy to win. I think Michigan State and Houston, because we're talking about defensive teams, me personally, and I think those two, when it comes down to it, it wouldn't shock me, you know, if Michigan State won. But I think that the hard out is going to be, I think, you know what? I'm going to say, coming from the other side of the bracket, I think, you know, like Alabama, I think they could, you know, I think there's certain teams that can really, this could be a great year. But see, for Duke, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, I don't have a certain team. I think depending on if Flag, his health situation.
That ankle.
Right. Now, I think if he's
everybody,
78%, you play him. And I think that he's going to still he's going to be a major impact on the team. But that is the key. And they know it. And I think that Duke, you know, we know how ankle injuries could be. I mean, you can re-aggravate that thing. First play of the game. It doesn't take much.
I think if he's 8%, they're willing him out because it's the tournament.
Yeah.
You ain't got no choice. Like, I need you to get up out there.
And that's where it gets tricky. Because you don't want to risk anything long term. You're talking about a lottery pick easily, if not the number one overall pick.
Well, he sounds like I think he is.
But you want him back healthy. I mean, sometimes ankle injuries. We saw what another Duke Blue Devil what ankle injuries did to Grant Hill.
Oh yeah.
You know, he wanted to will his team into playoff position or to, you know, at least be, or even further than that. But I mean, it cost him dearly. It cost him his career for the most part. It don't take much. Like if you, again, it's one of them deals where sometimes with players, much like boxing, you got to be in their corner throwing a white towel because they won't defend themselves. Mm-hmm. They'll go out on legacy, they'll go out on bravado and everything else. And it's like, we need you here long term. Whether you plan on coming back next year or going to the league, whatever decision you make, you want to make it in the best health you can be in. And this may not, but you know, hopefully it's minor, and he knows his body better than anybody else. Hopefully the training staff is, you know, hopefully we got to get enough training staff that knows and it's going to break it to him if he can't, and it's not a good idea. But, you know, fingers crossed it. But right now, I don't know. But
you want to see them compete at the highest
definitely
level.
But
I mean, when you have a year that goes this well, where you've earned a number one seed, you want to really see that play out. You know, my Tar Heels are fighting for 11th on Tuesday against San Diego State, and even that's not going to be an easy out because San Diego State is a good team. Like they've always been pretty balanced. And the one thing I love about the tournament, and it's arguably to me the best sporting event out there in terms of sheer excitement, because if you look at anything else, it's so true. All you have to do is get hot. If you are in right now, you just have to go on a 5-6 game win streak. You know what I mean? And you will literally beat everyone, and there's nothing you can do about it. How many teams? I mean, truth be told, I can't remember the last time, you know, it was like a team who was just completely out of the far right, where it's like nobody had any clue that they could win. because even in this format, most of the time, guys will get weeded out. But to watch that process is always somebody who goes down way too early. It's always a Cinderella team or always somebody that, pulls on the heartstrings of it. So from your perspective, is this one of the best sporting events of the year? What do you guys think?
Most definitely, because you're talking about, one game, win or go home. That
Yeah.
that just that setup alone is going to bring the intensity
You
that
said it all
that's
right
needed.
there. Yeah.
That's why, right, and that's why for college basketball, even for the regular season, every game matters. There isn't like, okay, we still got like, every game matters. So they're already. You think about it, when you're in college basketball, you're already playing at a certain level, and especially towards the end of the season, you're playing your tournament championships. Now that you're in, the big dance, the
Mhm.
type of energy that is necessary, as even from a coaching standpoint, you're going to have to do some of your best coaching, every round, as long as you make it. And all it takes is a great outing for you to knock someone off, whether
Yeah.
you win by 20 points or 1 point. Long as you can win and keep going to the next one. I just think the excitement of seeing some of the big names tumble and fall first, first two rounds, they go down to what you think is a lesser team. But like I said, all you have to do is kind of, especially this is, we understand that it's not, professional, NBA basketball, but to
Yeah.
get those kids to really buy in and give it their all, on the court. I mean, you know what? I don't, you think about it. NBA, we know that some of these guys, when they play, it's kind of like they kind of turn, throwing the towel when they know, like, we're not having a great night. There's still another game
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's the first game
We'll
of the
sit our
playoffs.
guys. We'll
Yeah,
rest our
none of
guys.
that.
Yeah. No. No. No.
None
No.
of that. Like, listen, I need you to tape this up, because this may be, well, and for some of these guys, this may be their last collegiate game or their last game period, because
True.
everyone's not, you know what I mean? Because everybody's not going to the
Everybody's not
league.
going to the league.
Everybody
No
ain't
Everybody's
doubt
getting
not
about
paid.
going
that.
So
overseas.
I
Hmm.
need
Yeah.
to leave it all on the floor. There's so much at stake, not just for the championship, but their career in sports,
Yeah.
period, for some of them. Like, this is the last hurrah. There is nothing after this. So I
Yeah.
need to go ahead and at least try to win this chip. You know what I mean? And I just, to see not only the energy, but to see the emotions that they go through. You know what I
Kid
mean?
from
Like,
Kansas State the other night was heartbreaking to me. I don't know if you guys
man,
saw that. I mean, he couldn't get past them tears. He apologized for
Hmm.
crying, but
right,
that was such a pure moment, and it was one of those things. Being in locker rooms and coaching for
right,
a number of years, you feel for those kids because they truly don't know. They've loved this thing this entire time. They don't know what's next for them, and part
Yeah.
of that is some of that is the disappointment of the loss. The other part of that, though, is I don't know if I'll ever get to do this again at this
Yeah.
level. Yeah, and you feel that. I mean, that boy cried. And he talked about, but he transferred too. He left his old team, transferred over, and it was like, was the grass eating greener? NIL money. Here we
Yeah,
go with this
yeah,
buddy.
again. So,
mm-hmm.
but man, that raw emotion, I felt so bad for him in that moment because it was pure, and he was genuinely remorseful about not being able to do more, which is something you don't really see at the professional level. Not like that, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's the answer is pretty easy. It has to be the penultimate, and I say it only to the Super Bowl. Not that I think that's a better product.
It's just what we're accustomed to.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
biggest sporting event in America, no doubt. Now, this obviously is
Right.
second to it. Maybe I'm not sure if that's true. For all I know, it could be the college football national championship.
Yeah.
But the tournament is probably the best, one of the most fair systems. There is no fairest. There is no. This is the best that we have right now in terms of its fairness. I mean, you can
Once
argue
you
that
get
like
past
teams.
selection, it's like, okay.
Once you get past the selection, because again,
Right.
it will not come without controversy that teams like North Carolina made it. And that's not to pick on them. I'm just
For
saying,
sure.
like,
No. You're absolutely right, because when they lost that game, that was my first thought is like, yeah, that this year's over.
yeah,
We'll see what happens next year, and for
Yeah.
them to get in. And I mean, even being in a play-in situation, they're going up against a good San Diego State team, and then if they win, they still got to go against Ole Miss. But the funny thing is, again, you get on a run. That's a veteran coach.
mm-hmm.
He's been to the top of that mountain a couple times.
Yeah.
You still got R.J. Davis. You got
Yeah,
Elliot
you
Cadeau.
you
You
sure
got Ian
about that?
Jackson. So you still got some guys who can actually,
Mhm.
if they can just put it together, quiet as kept. You mess around and be in a final against Auburn in the
It could
Southern
happen.
section and be like, hey,
Yeah.
look at what we're doing. Yeah, so it's
It could
possible.
definitely
I,
happen. And that's one
yeah.
of the things about it. Like college basketball has found a way. This is where the NCAA gets some credit. Whoever's in charge or at the administrative level, I got to give it to them and their foresight and even the naming of the different rounds, the Elite Eight, Final Four, like
Yeah,
those
it
those
builds. They
titles,
all build.
right? And we know what that means. Like the Final Four is
Yep,
exclusive to college basketball.
yep,
Now, technically, whenever you have a semifinals, there is a Final Four of sorts, but they've
correct.
coined a phrase that is transcendent. Even if you don't
Yep,
understand basketball, you know the Final Four.
You
We're
know what the
talking
Final
college
Four is,
basketball, especially
correct?
in this country. You
yeah,
certainly know what time it is. So if you asking me, like, yeah, to me, it's and as a basketball fan, again, Super Bowl is great, or it can be as potential to be great, but more often than not, the tournament is probably going to shake out and be entertaining regardless. Like you're guaranteed some entertainment. You're guaranteed some level of
yeah.
drama. You're guaranteed some great storylines. It's just it's a great time of year for basketball. We got NBA kind of winding down and it you're getting into the probably the most competitive part of the season, especially in close races like the Western Conference, but in college basketball, this is
Yeah,
like you said, this is it for some of these guys. They're not
yeah,
going
Let's
pro,
not
at least not in
let's not
basketball.
forget, fellas. We got to bring the other gender in. The women's side, and especially over the
Oh
last. We
man,
got the
they've been shining. Yeah.
everybody. I'm telling you,
Juju
and
on that
You got to give it up
right.
for the ladies,
Everybody
man.
wants to see it.
Yeah.
Right. So you from just I didn't. I'm going to go out on the limb and say this. As much as I love the NFL, I think collegiate sports on the whole, when it comes to football and basketball, there is no better product. And the reason
yeah,
why I say that because the energy that
Yeah.
comes with both.
Now I will say
You
that.
think about You think about Saturday, just collegiate football. I heard someone speaking, one of the NFL guys, and he's, played for won championships with the Patriots, and he was, speaking to the fact that there's nothing more crazier than a college fan, and even the people that the fans that show up. We're talking about Tuesday. The game is Saturday. Show up with their, and start everything Tuesday, waiting in line or waiting in tents or in their RVs pulling
You do
up
your
and
respect
body
of any
paint from
drones.
head to
Right.
toe. It's
And
crazy.
think about it. I mean, listen, I know they don't like it, but just even to see when like there's a big game, the upset happens, and they storm the field. That type of energy
Yeah.
is it's so attractive as just a fan to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even the personalities when when you see some of the personalities in collegiate sports that have been kind of like, they've been there. I mean, since forever, and just to see them, to come out, the sportscasters for college, that is,
Yeah,
I mean, arguably, like I said, Dick Vitale, just at the time to hear that, yeah,
Gypsy
baby,
dude dunks are real.
come on, man,
Yeah.
come on now.
Yeah,
I mean, you think about it, some of the best moments in sports are from collegiate sports.
You know,
The best moments. I mean, your Duke. I mean, the Christian Leitner shot. I mean,
yeah,
come on now. I mean, some of these things we really got to, like I said, don't get me wrong. I think if you're going to compare it to something, you have to compare it to, it would have to be only the finals. There's the finals in NBA. Yeah, that's a whole nother level.
yeah, but the
But
finals can be a kind of a 50-50
right, it's a hit
proposition
or
in terms of
miss. Right.
entertainment value. You never know
But
what you
the
might
ones
get.
and dones, you know what I mean? But the
Yeah.
one and done, that aspect of it is what makes
Just that in and of itself, it
right.
it adds something to the atmosphere that you can't get in professional sports. Win or go home.
Yes.
It truly is win
for sure.
or go home. There ain't no second chances. This is not a best of 3, 5, 7. You know what I mean? This is not a double elimination. It is you have one time to have a
that's
bad
it.
night and you going home. And that's that.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the
you can regroup for
rivalry is
next year,
unmatched.
hopefully. You know?
You know what I mean? A collegiate rivalry is unmatched.
It is.
On top of that,
Yeah.
I remember we all went to go. We saw the Duke North Carolina game. We went
Oh my
and
gosh, we had such a
people
good
up in
time.
there. Yeah,
I swear, if there's one thing I would want for us in this life is to be in attendance at one of them games, whatever
Yeah.
site. Like
Yeah.
you talk about a dream,
Oh,
but
yeah.
man, just us sitting there at the bar, restaurant, or wherever, had a couple beers, and you could cut that tension with a knife because that was a close game. It was
Mhm.
hard fought. You knew if this was it, like this would be Coach K going out, losing to Carolina after just losing to them on, his last game
Yeah.
coaching as the head coach at Duke. So it was just like, there's no way lightning strikes twice. But man, you're right. There's no feeling like that. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah. The college sports atmosphere it's unmatched because you have the passion of the student body. You just got a lot more going for it. It's a lot more passion packed because people care more. These aren't paid professionals. I mean, you could argue that they are kind of semi-professional now with the money they're getting, the NIL money, transfer portals, and these guys are making decisions like pros. But for some, like you said, this is going to be the closest they'll get to that, the ability to transfer, to make money. This is their professional career. And again, like you said, Brad, you got the women's game now, which has really been quiet as kept. I mean, it's been still in the spotlight from the men's game.
I haven't mentioned it because I think it's an episode in and of itself, because we have to talk about, has the women's game in its totality.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've touched on this.
Swung that pendulum.
Yeah.
And taken over.
Yeah.
That
is a conversation to be had, no doubt.
It's getting there for sure. Yeah.
But in terms of the college environment, they certainly have earned their keep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you might argue they deserve a lion's share of it. But this year, again, you got to really. I think the selection committee did a great job this year. You always going to have some controversy.
Yeah,
that's built into it. It's going to happen.
The field's so large. Yeah, somebody's going to be upset.
Right. So no matter if it were 128, somebody would feel left out.
Yeah, the 129th team is
right. Yeah, how did we not make it? Yeah, But and when you look at just the size of the field, like what field starts out now, it's 68, right? Yeah. But it's a 64 team tournament that whittles down to one last man standing. When you hear that Luther Vandross being queued up, that one final moment, man, that's you hear Clark Kellogg's and
There's so much nostalgia around that. Yeah.
There's so much around that, man. And
that's the greatest.
It can't be overstated. This is the best time, one of the best times of the year for basketball, the tournament. And by that time, when we're done with that, we'll be looking at the NBA playoffs. We'll have a clearer picture. But I'm certainly looking forward to this tournament. And again, hey, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the bracket. That's the most exciting and fun part, even for the casuals and those who don't follow college basketball or sports in general. Just filling out a bracket at your office party or whatever, you know what I mean? To have bracket parties and like that's a fun that we nationally, we get to indulge in every year. I don't give a damn where you are, whether you work in sanitation or you work in corporate America. So, your office is taking up some pools. Yeah.
Right.
That bracket, the philosophy
papers.
Behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, you said the philosophy. Yeah. And
some people is like, I'm going with this color.
Yeah.
If the team has this color, I'm going with it. I like their mascot better. Just the rationale and to be the one thing. Do you ever think we'll get somebody who fills out a perfect bracket? Because there's been $1 billion on the line.
$1 billion, yeah.
Who knows how long? And there's a reason nobody's won it, because there's always an upset.
Just the thought that you have a better chance of picking 6 or 7 numbers to win close to $1 billion or to win a jackpot than you do at filling out a completely 100% accurate bracket. That's crazy in and of itself. Like there's no rhyme or reason. And you can get down to all analytics, and every year they'll do a show dedicated to these guys who come on, who this team has a better chance.
Bracketology and the whole nine.
All it is, and you know what and it's equivalent to? Bracketology is damn near equivalent to astrology, and that it means absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of hogwash at the end of the day. It's all fun and games, but it means nothing. It has no significance. But I mean, I'm looking. I got a bunch of them. I'll probably print out about 20 and fill out 20 different brackets. Just
I think
you know what I mean.
The same this year.
Yeah,
normally stick to 1 or 2.
Nah, I do a ton of them.
Hey, this is one with my heart, and this is one just. But yeah, I think this year I'll probably get a few more in just to see what that's like.
Yeah,
but listen to what you guys are saying. We're talking about just the excitement of choosing the brackets. Just think about that. Even like when they have think about it in college, when they have like earlier at 4:00, they had the bracket special. the special for
just
who's
revealing
going to get the reveal. Just in that alone, like I said, from that from revealing who makes the tournament moving forward, and I dare say this. I think that the championship game is probably like the greatest Monday of sports of any sport. That Monday, I mean, and that's the thing. There's no way, I understand the NFL. You got to build it up, but hey, that Saturday, that Friday, Saturday, who won. That following Monday, like, yeah, let's rock. Let's go ahead and get it out the way. And I like that because you don't want a team to cool off. Like, I want to see both you guys at your best towards the end. And we know that it's going to be ups and downs in the games, but you're going to always get, like I said, I think the consistency of it too. And, because the NBA, it can be inconsistent. Like you said, you get to the finals, it's like, nah. You saw the,
in recent years, it's you get to the playoffs, it's like all the top stars are injured somehow, some way.
Yeah.
You depleted of a whole bunch of star quality, and it's just like, whatever, dude. I don't even care who wins now. It's just like whoever's the healthiest at this point is going to get it done, and we'll be certain to put an asterisk near it too.
Kaiser Permanente MVP.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, just in terms of like just the raw emotion and the passion, it's just fun and can't be overstated.
Yeah,
you gotta love it.
So
man.
we'll have to trust and believe. We'll have some more coverage of that. Well, fellas, we coming to the end. It's freestyle. What's on your mind? A couple minutes and just let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah, what's going on? What was everybody up to? Were you watching anything interesting? Anybody stumble on anything that you want to share with the congregation, that you want to let the people know about?
I just started Daredevil, the reboot of Daredevil. I enjoyed that when it got darker. When Disney started to get into a little bit of blood, a little bit of violence, I was like, okay.
Oh, we got blood in this series. Really?
Oh yeah.
So they kept up with it from Netflix. They didn't watch it.
Okay.
That's what I was
They
worried
didn't
about.
depart from it. They and first episode, they come with it. Like,
really?
Some familiar faces that are brought right back into the fold. So yeah, I would definitely recommend. If you followed it on Netflix, it's a good jump in.
I might have to check it out. I was concerned that they would take all the blood out and remove all of the.
That's what I was worried about.
Okay.
They from pause to play. They just hit continue. So yeah, you need not worry about that for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Check out.
I mean, because listen, those series, the Daredevil, the Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones and all the
Luke Cage and all them.
They put Netflix on the map for me. Like, a lot of people didn't really know that Netflix had these things, and then next thing you know, man, it blew up. So I'm happy that the show was back. I love that show. I was those Marvel ones. I mean, for people that's listening, if you haven't checked them out, you guys need to check them out.
Get to it. Yeah,
please do. Y'all slipping.
Only other one I'm waiting to come back is Your Honor. That was a good.
You're gonna be heartbroken.
I enjoyed.
I hope I'm wrong, but last I heard, that was my show. It's a wrap. They're not coming back. I don't know why. Unless another network picks that up. That show's not coming back. That pissed me off.
So you telling me they left us with a cliffhanger?
Yes.
He survived.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, trust me. It broke my heart. That was the show I was most looking forward to. Oh,
I've been waiting, and I even told my wife earlier, like, "Hey, where's that?"
Chris,
it's two shows that similar. Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Mayor of Easttown.
You've been talking about that for a while.
We're watching it. Yeah, we're on that too, Bear.
Oh, okay. Pay attention. Pay attention to that show. That's going to throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
Yes,
I got to check it out now. You talking about it like that?
Wait a minute. You haven't seen it?
No. I've heard Robert talk about it for a minute, for some years, a couple years now, I want to say.
I'm waiting and hoping. I don't know if they're going to come back. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to come back with it. So, but yeah, those are the shows, the same similar shows we're on. Only thing I'm doing now is, man, I went and got we went and got some bikes fixed in the house that need to be fixed. But to my surprise, but to my surprise, see, this is me being lazy, being a mechanic myself, knowing how to, work on different things and the bikes. I didn't feel like doing them, so I wouldn't get it, since I don't have a truck. I have an SUV, but not a truck. And they wouldn't fit. Went and got a van from U-Haul, took it up there. And by the time they did the assessment, oh, you need this, that, and the third. And I knew they weren't cheating because I could clearly see. Yeah. When I got that bill, bruh, it was like,
are they fixing bikes or motorcycles? Like, oh yeah, what's going on? It's a Harley up in this joint?
Whoa.
Right. I was like, man, I'm thinking like, how much does that bike cost? That's brand new. You $434. That was the ticket. I was like, yeah.
And we're
So I'm
talking
gonna get back out there.
bicycles, right? Not
And
motorbike. It's crazy.
no,
Yeah.
pedal power, buddy. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
just like
crazy.
that. 434,
World
bro.
That's
Yeah,
crazy,
but
man.
you know, about this, we'll see how if any more rains come. I'm about ready to get on out there, put this bike out there, and
There you
use
go.
another form of cardio because I can't do no
Yeah,
track or no
I
treadmill.
bet. Yeah, I
You
hear
know,
you.
Yeah, you
What
gotta
about you,
enjoy
Rick?
it. It'll keep you on it. Ain't nothing new over here, man. I ain't been up to nothing
Yeah.
much. I ain't haven't stumbled into nothing great worth mentioning. It's just been the same old,
Yeah.
man. Just trying to live through y'all for a moment, trying to see what's going on in the world. Shit.
yeah. Well, check out that mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
what
it'll
you
give me
need to
something to
do
do in
that.
the interim. Yeah, I can check that out. You've been talking about it for a while.
All right. How many
Yeah.
episodes of Daredevil is available? 2?
I think 3 right now.
Oh yeah, it's going down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going down.
Yes. So you might want to check that out. Last thing I want to leave y'all with, and we kind of talked about it. So we've known each other the majority. I mean, I met these guys in 3rd, 4th grade, and we're all in a similar age bracket, mid 40s, and we've had our conversations and we've kept up with each other. But one of the things that we kind of touched on today was just being good to each other, making sure that you were watching out for your brother. It immediately made me think of the lyrics from The Best Man I Can Be from the Best Man soundtrack. And just a couple of lines. What can a brother do for me? He can pick me up when he can pick you up when you are down. What can a brother do for me? He can be your eyes when you can't see. What can a brother do for me? He can help me be the best man I can be. So watch out for your brothers. Sometimes we get so caught up in life. That applies to sisters too, but that was on my head and on my heart after we had a conversation. So just make sure we're looking out and doing what we can to be the best for each other because we need each other. I know we are men. I know we are prideful. I know we are strong. I know we are providers, but we are human.
Yeah.
So, that's something that this brotherhood talked about. So make sure that you are watching out for your brothers, being there for him, being his eyes when he can't see, picking him up when he's down, and just making sure that we're taking care and making sure each of us is the best we can be for one another and the people we love. So with that, I'll leave you. Ree, can you tell the people where they can find and support the pod?
Well, you can start at our website. Well, not ours, but we'll call it our website. The Supreme Court Basketball.buzzsprout.com. That's one way you can go check us out. Listen to our podcast there if you don't want to be bothered with the YouTubes and whatever else, though we are available there too at Supreme Court Basketball. Again, at Supreme Court Basketball on YouTube. Please include the @ symbol. Otherwise, you'll get the U.S. Supreme Court or something that's got nothing to do with basketball or us at all. Yeah. So we're available there. Wherever you get your podcast, just type in the Supreme Court Basketball Podcast. You should be able to find us. If not, you might be capping. You ain't looking hard enough.
Hey, you definitely wasn't. And one more thing. We want you to not only follow, like, subscribe, share, drop a coin. Help us keep this thing going. Help us bring you more content. Help us do what we are loving to do. We are finding this to be a joy, and we want to keep that going. So,
we'd appreciate that.
Drop that quiet money, amen, because we want to keep going, and we want to
appreciate your love offerings. Yeah,
so absolutely.
Yeah, I come to you with cup hands, even if it's just change.
Man cannot live on bread and water alone. Bless us, please.
Keep it going.
And I ask that you would just open up that billfold and
billfold. Hey, a word for the day. Another good episode, fellas. We appreciate you rocking with us. We will see you next week, and we are out.
We out.
We out. Hey.